Annyeong! Welcome back to Dollightful. This is the second half of my How to Sew Doll Clothes video. Click the link on screen now to see part 1. So, what do you do if your doll came nude, like most BJDs? Or you don't own any clothes for it? Where are you supposed to start in that case? You could try that saran wrap method I've seen other people do, or you could cut out tissue paper and hold up the pieces to your doll until you finally get the shapes right, but who has the time? If you need to start from scratch, you can still start from existing patterns. I'm going to show you some of the patterns I've made on screen now. I apologize that not all of them are polished. While nothing is as good as having the actual physical pattern in front of you, I hope you still find this helpful. This is how I go about making clothes for unique dolls that I own, like my Huju Freya doll that came nude and with very different proportions from Monster High. While the proportions and size does change from doll to doll, the pattern pieces for an outfit at their core will remain the same. For example, a basic tee will have a front, back, and sleeve piece every time in these general shapes. What you'll have to do, as the seamstress, is measure and alter the pieces you see on screen to fit your doll. Longer torso? Add length in the middle of the bodice pieces. More curvy? Sketch out and exaggerate the pattern's curves at the hips and bust. Large hands or thicker limbs? Widen the sleeve holes and add width to the sleeve, etc., etc. Obviously, since you have no means of simply tracing these patterns and expecting them to fit, this takes more concentration and figuring to get it right. So if you're new to sewing, I highly suggest copying a pattern first to warm up, if you have access to one. The good news is, the longer you sew, the more easily you'll recognize, oh, that's a sleeve hole, and oh, that's a pants pattern. Like anything, it gets easier with knowledge and practice. I have considered saving up for a scanner so I can properly scan and prepare my patterns to share with you guys. You know, like I could put them up on Etsy for $1 or so. It would take a lot of effort to organize and write up nice instructions for all my patterns, but let me know if that's something you're interested in. If and when that happens, I'll add a link in the description box. There is so much information regarding pattern making and sewing that there's just no way I could fit it all into 2 videos. I mean, people major in this stuff. If you truly are interested in sewing, I might suggest taking a class, or checking out the links I've posted in the description box below to channels specifically dedicated to sewing. Here's how I start with complicated original outfits. I'll have a rough vision of the doll I want to create. Then, I sketch out a couple of concepts in pencil. At this stage, I'm not thinking about how I'm going to sew it. If you get caught up thinking about that at this stage, you may second guess your design and you don't want to do that. Come up with the concept first and worry about construction later. Trust yourself to figure it out. With the final sketch of the design, it's time to break it down. Which pieces are separate? How and where is it going to attach? How will the layers stack on top of each other? I ask myself these questions as I sketch on a separate sheet of paper all the components of the outfit. When that's done, I turn to my pattern library to find close matches to what I've sketched and modify them to fit my new design. Here I am enlarging and referencing the Monster High dress pattern we just made into a blouse pattern that will fit Freya. I'm doing my best to correct any errors on the tissue paper stage by holding it up to the doll. After a great deal of figuring, you'll have a roughed out pattern of your outfit with, hopefully, the correct proportions to match your doll. Because this method was all a bit more haphazard, it can be a great idea to sew a prototype first. This was the case with my Kyron doll, where I was creating a new outfit that I didn't have much basis for in my existing patterns. Before using up my good fabric, I only had a tiny bit of gold left and I didn't want to screw it up. I made a quick prototype out of cheap linen first. It may seem time-consuming, and, well, it can be, but by making a prototype, all the mistakes of your pattern will become obvious and you can fix them. You can see on Kyron's prototype, I gave a twist to her top to make it fit better, and I also figured out that I would be needing elastic to get the skirt to behave properly. There's no way I would have guessed to do that the first time if I had not made the prototype. Making a prototype was especially important for the Freya doll I was working on earlier, since this is my first time sewing clothes for her body type. As a quick side note, this is kind of advanced stuff, but if you want to force the fabric to lay down and look like it's draping, wrinkle your fabric and glue it to another piece of fabric to fake the drapery. Also, I can show you how to make doll armor, but that'll have to be another video. While many of you might like to see specific clothing tutorials from me, I'm sorry to say I won't be providing anything like that. To put it bluntly, I didn't make my channel to film sewing tutorials. Sorry. I've purchased a couple patterns from Etsy in the past, from several different sellers, but my luck there has always been hit or miss. I'm more of a if you want it done right, do it yourself kind of girl anyway, but if you have had good luck finding doll patterns online, feel free to drop a comment about it. Also, if you'd rather skip sewing entirely and just buy an outfit, there are a few shops I've had good experiences with, which I'll also put in the description box. If you're serious about sewing your doll clothes, the methods used in this video and part 1 are solid ones that you can run with to create anything you want. So for some closing remarks, if you've got a great idea for an outfit, go for it with confidence. Plan it out the best you can, be prepared to fail, learn from your mistakes, have patience, and of course, have fun. I'll see you in my next video. Stay artsy! Annyeong! I need to do the laundry, Soko. She's purring. It's all the dirty laundry.